Hey guys. So following the other video that I did for the headband from Ellie and Mac, I figure I will do a quick tutorial on the twisted needle face mask that I've been making. Um, I'll show you. This is what the pattern looks like, and I'll put the link to the pattern, but there's 3 sizes: adult, teen, and child. The ones that I'm working on right now are adult. um, I am making them out of a knit pattern, and I'm also hacking them to keep the sides open to be able to slip a filter in there. But this is what your pattern will look like when it's all cut out. You'll cut 4 of these, 2 for the outside, 2 for the lining. And then you'll sew them together at the edge. I serged mine. But this is what they should look like after that. I'm also not using elastic. I'm using strips of this for a tie band. There is an elastic shortage right now, and as far as I'm concerned, if they need it in the emergency rooms and doctors need it and stuff like that, I would rather that be in their hands than in mine. So we're going to hack this pattern to make these ties, and we're going to hack it to keep it open in the side. Please forgive me. This should have gone to get serviced. I'm sorry, my lamp is very bright. This should have gone to get serviced, so the top stitching is not beautiful, but it's going to get the job done. So we're going to start with our strips. So I like to kind of do the purse hack, and we're going to take our raw ends and we're going to fold them into the middle. And then we're going to fold it back over, essentially making a bias tape. And you could use a bias tape along this, guys. I've seen a lot of people doing that. I just prefer the knit. I just like the feeling of the fabric better. So, totally up to you. I just figure this is a way that we can help out. I personally have just been using scraps to make these masks, so I'm not charging for them, mainly because I'm making them to donate and making them for friends. I have been using a barter system, though. People are like, what can I pay you for this? And I'm like, nothing, that's dumb. And they bring me, I had a friend, because I do a lot of baking on Facebook Live also, I had a friend bring me yeast and bread flour. My neighbor, who I'm making some for, she gave me flour. A friend of mine brought me a Boba Fett plushie, which is something that I collect. So my husband thinks it's pretty funny we're going back to bartering. So again, we're just going to fold those raw edges into the middle and then fold it back over. I made one of these for myself, and not only did I feel a lot better about walking around in public, everybody thought I was nuts, so they all stayed away from me, which was an unexpected benefit to the mask making process. But I know a lot of doctors that don't consider themselves emergency services, like dentist office, are requesting these. I have a couple people that I know that work in urgent care, because they only get so many masks. They can tuck their paper mask or their N95 or whatever they might be using inside of these. And if you didn't see my other video, that's a headband that you can add buttons to, which is something that a lot of nurses have been requesting. because nurses are having to wear those masks 24/7 around all patients. So it just alleviates the pressure from behind their ears. And it's another really, really quick pattern, guys. So I'd say I've got this down to probably about 20 minutes a mask from cutting to complete, which is really nice because I can, you know, I've been pumping them out. I have them for my family. I have them for my husband's family, a lot of workers that we know that are considered essential still. It's just a nice thing to be able to make and to be able to provide. I know that it's easy right now to feel, you know, monotonous and feel like nothing's happening, but this is just an example of using your skills to keep yourself busy. I know in January and February I was sewing for the Australian wildfires, and now in March and April I'm sewing for this. And my first resolution of 2020 was to help change the world. It sucks that this is how we're doing it, but this is how we're doing it. And you could absolutely use elastic, guys. I just don't, like I said, with the shortage going on and so many people are making them for emergency services and things like that, I would rather them be in the hands of people who are relief sewists. I personally have not been approached, and I know our local hospitals are currently not taking donations of those kind of masks yet, but the second they do, I will be making those. Right now we're just trying to make them for our essential workers and people that still need them. I made a couple for a flight attendant today. I've made a couple for a gentleman who works in IT. You know, my husband and I still have to go out and get groceries, things like that. My father-in-law works for, I lost my thread, for the Animal Kingdom, for animal services. So he is, even though Disney is shut down, he is still working. Because unfortunately, they can't tell the animals to go home. Oh my gosh. I've been doing this so long today that my eyes have just like gone crossed. And I've also, I said I've been making these out of scraps of fabric. I've been trying to use fabric that's really fun, and I'll show you guys right before we start top stitching the actual mask what I mean. This one's one that I found on a BST page. And it was so fun. I've made my daughter so many pieces of clothing out of it because I just love it. But it's one of those things like, when you see this pattern, you have to smile. You have to, you know. And so in today's world, smiling is important. Okay, so that's it. Our ties are done. I have no idea where my snips went in this chaos, so we're using gigantic scissors. But so, see how fun? I love that moment of silliness. So because we're hacking this pattern, we're gonna take our sides and we're gonna roll hem them. It is a knit, so you don't have to do that, but I do. Blame it on the OCD. So we're doing this part because we aren't going to stitch the sides like it says on the actual pattern instructions. And again, I will make sure that I drop the pattern instructions in the description of this video. This is from Twisted Needle, but I like the idea of being able to place a filter or, you know, a paper mask or whatever might be your preferred method. Oh my gosh. Told you guys my sewing machine has had it with me today. Alright, so that's one side. So that'll be our exterior. And then we're going to do the same thing to our lining piece. Just fold in those edges, fold them over one more time, and top stitch. This is a step that you can skip if you are not going to leave the sides open. You would just you know, just leave a space open to be able to flip it the right side, and then top stitch that. Which I did on my first couple, and again, it was super easy. I just I like having the hack to be able to put something in there. And I've heard some people, I read an article that said like inch per inch, if you were to line 2 coffee filters up, it's the same as the number 3 paper mask that they use in the hospital. Again, not the N95. This is not filtering out everything. But it does filter out some stuff. And now that we know that this travels on air, in water molecules on the air, it's just better to be safe than sorry. Before I became a seamstress, I was actually working as a first responder, and I wanted to be an infectious disease nurse. My final medical paper was actually written on the mutations of the Spanish flu. So I am right at home in all this chaos. So I'm going to go take this over to the board and just press out, because this is really wavy. I'm just going to press out those seams. Okay, so now we're going to, so we want right sides together, so we're going to just kind of tuck that in there and line up our seams. Please excuse my mess. I have been doing nothing but sewing for the last few days. And I'm just using my presser foot as a measurement. I'm just lining up the edge of my presser foot along. So the point on my presser foot, I'm just running it along the top of my, so probably, that's probably 1/4 of an inch. So that's our top. And now we're just going to do the same thing along the bottom. Another 1/4 of an inch or so. Like I said, I'm just using my presser clip as a guide. Oh, this thread. I've also found that I'm running out of thread. And I want to order some, but I'm even paranoid about that. I have no idea if Joann's is still open. I haven't been in 2.5 weeks. So I think it is. Because I keep seeing people, I know they were offering the free materials to make masks, which is really cool. Okay. Alright, so I am going to take my edges and I'm just going to cut diagonally along them because we're going to fold this out and then we're going to have our ties in about that area, so you don't want it to be too bulky. Of course, making sure not to cut through any of your stitches here. Ooh, my garbage can is full. My poor sewing area. But I mean, you guys, this is just, look at this. Look at how freaking cute that. Look. Who wouldn't smile seeing that? It made me smile. Okay, so now we're gonna take those. You guys have to see this. Hold on. Say hi, Mama. Hey, bud. I'm doing a sewing video. Okay, so we're gonna take our, oh, sorry guys, finished straps, and we're gonna tuck them into that first corner. You want to put it in there about a 1/2 inch, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this stitch a box. Ooh, hello. So I'm gonna go the length of that. And this is just to reinforce it, because that is going to be where the bulk of the pressure on this mask is. Did my thread just pop? Oh my gosh, you guys. I want to say everything that could go wrong has gone wrong in this video, but not everything. I wish the thread matched better. I wished everything looked prettier, but we're here for function, not fashion. It also doesn't help that it looks like my needle is dull. So after this one, I'm gonna switch out my needle. I also have a really hard time threading my machine because I suffer from a natural tremor. So, you know, just a whole lot of good happening here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this side. Going to tuck that in about a 1/2 inch. We're going to run up the length of, and then I go back, and we're going to box it in. So go 1 stitch over, back stitch it, 1 stitch over, and back down the length of the tie. Okay. Okay. This mask is so nice because I throw it right in the washing machine as soon as I get home. It never touches anything but my face and the washing machine. Okay. So the one side is done. And now we're just going to do the other side real quick. And we will have a face mask. Okay. Ooh. Get all tangled. Alright. So again, we're just gonna go down the length of the tie. I go back on mine. Now we're gonna box it. 1 stitch back, 1 stitch, and then just do the same thing. Gonna go up the length, go back, just to reinforce that fabric. Okay. And then you can see that it's still open on the side, so you can put your filter in there. And last one. By the time you've done this 20 or 30 times, it just kind of is like muscle memory at this point. Come on. My thread got caught. Okay. Alright, so we're done. And I will show you the finished product. Like I said, guys, I've been doing this for like 3 days now, so forgive me, my brain is fried. And yeah, it only took us, even with having to rethread my machine and do all that other stuff, it only took us 25 minutes. So here's your finished product. If you wear glasses, what I love about this pattern, I am blind as a bat without glasses. I tuck mine all the way on top of my nose. And my glasses do not fog up. So 10 out of 10 would recommend this pattern. It's open on the sides, so you could put a filter in there. It is machine washable 100%. And these ties stretch quite a bit because we use the knit. So they should fit just about everybody. I will go ahead and drop the link for this in the description of this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys are really successful in making these. When I do my lives in baking, we talk about sometimes we have butter and sometimes we have shortening. I personally make an all butter crust. It's my favorite when I'm making pies. I found out that my great grandma, who used to bake, made all shortening crust because she was a child of the Great Depression, and I'm sure Eleanor would have loved to make all butter crust, but shortening is what she had. And so it's kind of my message to be thankful for the things that you have. And sometimes we have butter and sometimes we have shortening. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart, stay home. And sometimes you have butter, sometimes you have shortening. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you're really successful in this. See you next time.